Hello everybody and welcome back to LMM, and if you're enjoying what you're seeing on the channel at the moment, how about giving this video a like, maybe subscribing to the channel to help us grow, and perhaps even check out our Patreon. Now, several of you quite enjoyed my recent foray into TT gauge, and so I went back onto eBay and I found myself this. This is a Triang TT Class 31, and I think it's wonderful and particularly twee. Particularly if you compare it to, now I don't have a 31 here, but I do have a 37, which gives you an idea of just how much smaller this thing is, because they should be more or less the same size. And together, I think it's very, very cute. So we'll lose the 37 over there for now, because we don't need it. And so obviously the first thing I wanted to do was to give it a run. The problem was, as soon as I put it on the line, it kept railing when it was propelling. And it turns out that the non-powered bogie here, one of the wheels is shattered. So it's not keeping itself on the line. And that was very disappointing. Now, the logical thing at this point would be to send it back to the seller and say, "Oi, you didn't say it was broken." However, I wanted to fix it. So I scoured around online and found myself this. And that's a spare set of drive wheels, because they should still fit in the bogie. So today, what we're going to do is open this up, replace the broken set of wheels, pull that apart, give it a service, and we'll see how well it runs. So with that, it's time to get the screwdrivers. So the first thing to do is just to undo all of these. I love this old Triang engineering, that it's just simple. You just undo some nice chunky bolts, or screws in this case, and it's just simple. I miss that on the modern complexity of things which you need a degree in Lego building to be able to disassemble. Right, so that pop out. That's the underpiece there. Then we can just flick this broken set of wheels out there. And as you can see, that is well and truly knackered. Grabbing my replacement sets here, and let's open up the baggie, we can drop these out. Now, I have two sets, and I'm only going to use one in case I need another set. So it seems pointless to replace both of them for the time being. So we'll just drop one in, which means this one can go back in its little bag. And then we'll drop this one in to there, like so. And that looks super. So before I go any further and put this back on, I'm just going to give these a little bit of a oil up. And that hopefully means that that will spin, so much better now. So we'll now just drop this plate back on, give it a wiggle so that it locates. So it's pushing down on the axles. And now it's just a matter of putting the screws back in. I love this simple engineering. So with that, this thing is now fixed. But it still wasn't running particularly happily. So I'm going to start doing exactly the same as what I've done before and start stripping this side. And pop that out like so. So this gives us access to the bottom of the motor, so that's pretty simple. We can see the brushes are in good condition, so it's just going to be a matter of pull these out and pull this one out, and that all looks pretty good. There's no gunk or anything there, so it's just a matter of sticking them back in. What I have to do to get these back in is to poke the pickups in either side of the wheel. So what we're going to do again now is just use the dripper and put a bit of oil in. Just drop it into there, and we'll just put a bit of oil on the worm and the bearings either side of that, just to keep that lubricated and working well. And then it's just a matter of relocating this piece into there like so, and putting in the 4 screws. I love how simple all of this is. Done. So all that remains is we'll get out this little thing, and we'll attach these two to it, and we'll give it some power. Right, so that's all cleaned up, and we'll be ready to take that for a run. And a quick overview of this as well. Well, what have we got? It's very smart. Some of the glazing on that side started to push away, so I might at some point try and reset that. The details have been pretty good. This side seems like it's warped. The handrail is slightly misshapen. I don't really understand how, because it's a moulded detail. Apart from that, it's all very cute. It is just a shrunken down version of the 001. The roof's got a slight dent in it, but all in all, the detail is good. There's a bit of paint wear on it, but it very much looks like a Class 31. I like the fact that it does have the glazing and the root discs up on the front. I mean, don't like the fact that it is actually only a Bobo with fake wheel drops to make it look like a Coco. Apart from that, it is a totally passable diesel, and I'm just excited to give it a run. So everything's correct with its tension locks, which are slightly bent, so they might not couple up quite happily, but it does appear to be there. And of course, it has this rattle from the body, so it's the way that they did it on the old Triang stuff, and they've obviously scaled it down for this. It's going to just rattle as it goes along, which is disappointing. But apart from that, for what I paid for it, as this cost me a tenner, I'm quite content, really.
And so here we go. It is a glorious day, and so I set up the TT outside. Now this is the A series track, which means it comes on this quite chunky Baker-like base, which means it's ideal for setting up on a, well, not particularly level garden. So let's see if it makes any difference as I turn the power up to this little thing. Oh, what? It moves off on a much lower power, and actually that looks a lot smoother. In fact, that looks much happier. Oh, look at that go. It sounds quieter. And the difference in... Can I get it to... Oh, wow, look at that. Oh, there's something so hugely satisfying about taking a model that didn't work properly and making it actually do what it's meant to do. For a model of its age, that's a genuinely impressive crawl. And I will stress that this is not a level layout. Oh, that's superb. I wonder what it'll do full power. Oh, well, it flies. Oh, that's... Let's slow that down a bit. That's just... That's phenomenally good. I'm so glad I persevered with this. Isn't it just a glorious scale as well? It's so wonderfully twee. It's got a very toy-like characteristic to it. It's running like it's never had anything wrong with it. It's running like it's brand new. Who says 00's the smallest scale you can run in a garden? Now, I would go as far to call this a complete success. But a locomotive is only as good as the train it can pull. So let's see what happens when we get this a train. Which means I'll probably stop it here. And so I'm unveiling my southern set, so let's see what happens. Oh, well, that is just, that's glorious. Now, I appreciate that it's probably not the right stock to be pulling, well, to be pulled by a Class 31, but I think that looks brilliant. Proper train set size, and the 31's just pouring away. Now, there is a bit of a high spot here, and we notice that it does slow down as it goes over that, but, you know, the sensation of fixing something that wasn't working right and getting it to actually work is just magical. And that looks brilliant. I love how twee TT is. There's more to it. There's more of a sense of purpose and weight than you get in N, but it just feels more real, more tangible, more you can do something with it. I love this scale. It's so twee. And it's at that size that the lack of detail on the older Triang models, because it's smaller, you don't really notice it. As it trundles past, it's not, you don't miss it. You wouldn't notice extra detail at this scale as much. And it is lovely just having it in the garden. TT was great. What a lovely idea they had. There's something as well about the sound of a Triang motor as it trundles along. It's so glorious sounding little thing. This thing has given generations enjoyment, and now, you know, you guys watch it as well, so it's doing it all over again, and I find that just fantastic. It's doing exactly what it was made to do. I mean, this is older than a load of my vehicles, and I know I've made this point before, but this is a vintage toy now, and there's not really the appreciation for the fact that it's a vintage toy that does what it's meant to do, that's still exactly doing what it was meant to do. That's fantastic. It's phenomenal. It's brilliant. And I love it. I love this little 31. It's the perfect little Loco. Yeah, I mean, normally with model railways, I prefer steam engines because, you know, I like the motion and stuff going around on the outside. But this just looks perfect as it wiggles its way around. The only thing that kind of does take away is the fact that because the body shell is on pivots on the top, as it goes around the corners, you can kind of see it shake and it tilts a little bit. And especially as the bogies come back in, it kind of shakes itself. I think it kind of tilts off slightly as they would. It doesn't look quite prototypical. On the other hand, these bends, yeah, I mean, they're too tight for even a shunting yard, but you know, that's brilliant. That was the proper era. Green is the right colour for a diesel. Just throwing it out there. British Railway stuff. BR green, Lake Crest. Of course, when this came out, that would have been a current locomotive. I mean, it's like buying Class 66 today or buying one of the new Flirt units. It's like that. It's buying a contemporary model, something that was actually in service. It was buying something that you could ride behind. You might have been able to go out and see D5501 out on the network and you would have a TT model of it. Whereas now I'm looking back on it as a heritage engine. It boggles the mind to think that's as old as actual preserved engines. Yes, I know it's not going to be as controllable as a modern locomotive, and yes, it's not as quiet and it won't shunt as well, but give me this over the modern TT any day. This is fantastic. And with that, I'm just going to sit and enjoy watching this trundle around the garden. This is my day now. I'm just going to sit and enjoy this. It's fantastic, isn't it? So with that, thank you all very much for watching. Let me know if you've enjoyed seeing TT again appear on the channel and what you think of this mighty little thing. Look at it go. So if you have enjoyed this one, how about clicking over there for my first foray into TT, or down there for some other model railway stuff. And with that, thank you all very much for watching. I'm just going to enjoy watching this trundle around. Ta-ra!